the Jordan, the gymnastic girl, she's making waves across the US. People are saying she's the next Simone Biles. I don't think she's the next Simone Biles. I think she's the first
She
Jordan.
black?
Yeah.
Oh,
So most of their great gymnasts have started being black since that. What's her name again? Before
Gabby
Simone Biles,
Douglas.
Gabby Douglas. Yes. Um. Anyway, so Jordan does this perfect flip.
Mm.
Hey, she did not. It was not. It was perfect. Like when she landed, she didn't land and bounce.
Right.
She landed and it was as if her leg was glued to the ground. This girl did a perfect 10. Ask me what the judges gave her.
9.6 something?
9.975. So
Really?
my question was, how much of a hater can you be that you remove minus 0.25, minus 0.025? That's what kind of wickedness or
Mm.
witchcraft makes you remove 25? Why, if she did 9.999, I'll say okay. She just 9.975. How did you calculate to come to minus 0.025?
That's like a wicked lecture in a Nigerian
Do you understand?
university.
That's I must take something from this game. See, it's just, anyways. So apart from that wickedness that happened over the weekend, we will talk about Casemiro and the red card. We'll also talk about Chelsea. Chelsea is having a good time. See, we want to buy us breakfast. You people have gone back to winning ways.
I
Won't you
mean,
watch this something?
we just needed a little time to adjust.
Uh, uh, Hi, Zibi. Anyway, just tell people how they can join this show. It's them that will tell you what you're doing right now.
All right, the WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at Smooth981, and we're streaming the show live on YouTube as well. Hi, YouTube. So just search for Smooth981, click subscribe, and you can actually post the comments underneath the live stream as well.
All right, and so we start with the very first story.
All right, NBA Stephen Curry inspires Golden State Warriors against Milwaukee Bucks. Third ranked Pagula fights her way into Indian Wells fourth round. Real Madrid to take legal action against Barcelona for refereeing scandal. Ooh. Arteta praises Arsenal defense after win at Fulham. 10-man Manchester United held by Southampton. 10-man Roma's top four hopes dented by Sissolo loss. Man City star Haaland is here to stay in says Guardiola. BBC chief refuses to quit despite chaos sparked by Lineker removal.
My darling. So you know how
Hmm.
to say, you're an important person. Use your platform. They'll be telling you, but they want to pick and choose how you use your platform.
Absolutely.
So this guy has used this platform when he was speaking about human rights in Qatar. They were very happy
Oh
with
yes,
him
it's
in the
fine.
UK.
Mm.
Then they started speaking about human rights in the UK, and they're like, "No, you can't do
We're
that.
pulling you off
We're
air.
pulling you off air." Everybody went off air with him. Oh. I like that kind of
That
solidarity.
solidarity,
It's not here in
yes.
Nigeria. They pull me off air.
Someone
Somebody
will
will
be
come and say,
happy. Please, I can do it.
they'll be like, she's not coming. Okay, I can do it. I can also do the other one that she's doing in case you want to pull out that. But yeah, the solidarity is one. But we'll get to that conversation eventually. But let's start with Steph Curry and Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, Curry produced a late burst of quality to ensure the Golden State Warriors closed out victory over the Milwaukee Bucks in a manner that's been described as championship stuff.
Yes, so you can tell that it was a British person that wrote it. Americans write it in a more fancy way,
Right.
but yeah, really, and this is what it is. So, if you're anticipating two teams you'd want to see in the final, it's Golden State Warriors versus Milwaukee Bucks. You want to see that matchup. The one of the best in the West versus one of the best in the East, and it lived up to the bidding. Now, unfortunately, Giannis Antetokounmpo was out, and that was, I think, his third game. He still had that hamstring injury, so he hasn't played. But Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, man, they carried that weight for Milwaukee Bucks, and the lead in the game kept trading. It went from Golden State Warriors leading in the first half. No, so Milwaukee Bucks led a bit, then Golden State Warriors, but they're not too far from each other. So
Mm.
maybe 5 points here, 7 points there, and then um Steph Curry scored 36 points on the night, by the way. But 22 of his points came in the fourth quarter all the way to overtime. It was like his team was struggling. There was 2 minutes left on the shot clock. His team was struggling. then a spirit came over Steph Curry. That's how my sweet, humble, nice Christian Steph Curry became a monster. He took over the ball game. I mean, with all you can talk about the deep threes he threw, you can talk
Mm.
about the way he wove his way into the basket. You can talk about all the teardrops over Lopez Brooks. You can talk about many things,
Mm.
but the most impressive one was when there was 18 seconds left on the shot clock, and Drew Holiday had the ball to give Milwaukee Bucks, and Drew Holiday had just knocked down a three pointer to give them the lead before Steph Curry knocked down a three pointer to tie the game. So Drew Holiday was on fire, but Drew Holiday had the ball, which is 18 seconds left on the shot clock, and he gets into the paint, and he's free
Mm.
to drop the ball in the basket, and it would have been a box win. Steph Curry, not known for his defense, one of the smallest men on any court, steps up, leaps in the air, and stops the defensive player of the year for last season from making that shot. And that's how he
Mm.
went into overtime. Of all the things he did, of all the 36 points he scored, of all the brilliant way he took the fourth quarter and overtime, it was that play that was the defining moment. So brilliant masterpiece by both teams, I would say this. The
Mm.
only difference is that Giannis was missing. So the question is, if Giannis were there, could the game have gone differently? We can't live in if could
Mm.
have been.
That's
So
true.
we have to live in what happened, and what happened was on the night, Steph Curry stepped up and showed his stuff.
Wow. Speaking about Steph being one of the smallest men on any court, is he smaller than Allen Iverson? Iverson was
Hmm.
is 6'1", I think.
Yeah. So he's not smaller than Iverson. No,
Mm.
he's not. Oh, okay. So here's the trick. Now small is different from short. You have to understand. So I am small and short. There's some people that are just short. And the house so Allen Iverson, I think, had bigger upper body in the
Mm.
sense that he was a little more built.
Oh, okay.
So Steph is,
Petite.
yeah. So that's the thing. So he's for human size, he's not short. Too. He's like 6'2" or
Oh, okay. So
thereabout.
he's taller than
So
Allen.
he's taller than him, but he's a small man
Mm.
in the, yeah.
It's
But
small man.
in a sense, I mean, in basketball, if the average height is 6'8",
Yeah,
if
he's
you're 6'2", you might as well be 5'2". Like, you just leave
okay.
it.
American Jessica Pegula still finds it weird to think of herself as the world's number 3 player. She says she doesn't feel any particular pressure to live up to the ranking.
All right. So yeah, it's really huge. It's a wild, wild west out there in the desert. Of already with the WTA, you can see people can throw up upsets every day of the week and twice
Mm.
on Sunday. But the way that they are doing it in Indian Wells is a completely different one. And even if you manage to beat, you just hear, oh, this player is ranked 83rd in the world and she's coming up against world number two. World number two is sweat. Like amateur before she'll get that win. And so that's how the WTA is. Now, at some point, Pegula did look like she was on her way out because she'd lost the first set and she was even struggling to hold herself in the second set. Meanwhile, her opponent was serving, holding herself flawlessly. So it was such a chore. But she was able to battle through that. And then the third set looked a little better for her. And she came through that. Same thing with Maria Sakkari. At some point, we thought Sakkari was out because she was down a set and she was down a break.
Mm.
But she broke back immediately, and then she was able to win that. But on the men's side, we can't say the same for Casper Ruud because he lost to qualifier Garin. Struggled all through and just couldn't make a comeback. Cam Norrie was struggling too, but he did make a comeback. So really brilliant performances. Sasha Zverev also struggled, but did make a comeback because at some point in the third set, it looked like, you know what, Sasha Zverev, your serves aren't working. But he was able to just hold on and defend a little better, and he won that particular match. So it's a really tough one. It's back to back masters, so everybody is trying to stay as long as they can in Indian Wells and still manage to stay as long as they can in Miami. But every opponent is just trying to get as much points as possible. So it just makes it a little more interesting,
Mm.
for those that are watching. But if you have a fave, it's a real nail biting moment. It's not just my head that will go, it's my nails that will go.
All right, so on to football. Real Madrid will join the complaint filed on Friday by Spanish prosecutors against Barcelona and two of the La Liga club's ex-presidents over alleged payments to a company owned by a senior refereeing official to influence match
All
results.
right, so we all know about what Barcelona has now been charged with corruption in this refereeing case.
Mm.
We don't know what the penalties are, or what the penalties will be, but I know that even European chiefs and La Liga have sat down together to have a meeting about this thing, and so we're waiting for that outcome. But Real Madrid joining as an aggrieved complainant throws up two things, and they are very key things. The first one would be the El Clasico next weekend. It will take a completely different turn. It was already, I mean, the El Clasico already had bad blood this season. We've seen it even in the cups. It's taking a bad turn this season. But the fact that there is 9 points between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and if Real Madrid can just win that particular match, they cut down the gap to 6 points, and 6 points is doable to win back the La Liga. So that was already there. But this case will make the El Clasico a lot more tougher, because now it becomes not just political, like
Mm.
it's always been. It's going to be legal and it's going to be football. That's one end. The second end is that this kind of throws a spanner in the work of the Super League. Because if you remember, this Super League that is being proposed is Real Madrid,
Barca,
Barcelona, and
right.
Juventus are pushing it. So if Laporta looks at Fiorentino Perez and says, "So you want to test me?" Super League is dead in the water. Like
Mm.
there's no negotiation, there's no discussion again. So it's a tricky one. So Real Madrid is saying as soon as the judge brings the case, we're going to file a complaint. And I'm just looking at it like, so what's going to happen to this about Super League that we want to do? It's because you have to think about what
Mm-hmm.
you leave on the table. I guess these are rich people problems. Eventually they'll sort it out. But yeah, it sets up a really interesting discussion. The problem is, will any of the punishments now come on the pitch? Remember what happened to Juventus? Um, how they docked points from Juventus. Yes.
Right.
So will they dock some points from Barcelona, and would that make the title race even more interesting? And knowing that Xavi wanted to win his first La Liga title this season, will they take the trophies that they've won? There's just always going to be all those questions. We wait to see how this one pans out.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll continue the conversation on the other side. This is The Locker Room on Smooth 98.1.
All right. So when we come back, we'll take messages.
Okay, let me.
Go and drink water. That's your mom to be drinking water. Ah, she
Oh,
can like to
wow.
drink water. It's my time. Ooh, baby. Okay, we'll come in with MC Shayet. Okay, no, we'll read the Arsenal story first.
Man, this is unhealthily.
Yeah, it's just cold. When I complain that it's cold, I'm tired of wearing the jacket, because every video that they are shooting, this jacket is there.
You are your
Some
jacket.
people start saying, "This woman from Africa, is it only one cloth she has?"
Oh my God, that is true.
Before people start
They
saying,
said let them do GoFundMe for an African sports
for an African
journalist.
sports journalist, this African sports journalist
Oh
has
my
only one cloth. You can see in this video of from 2018, she had this cloth.
God.
She has been wearing that cloth every single day of her show.
Oh my
And this is
goodness.
2023. I don't want them to
I
use me.
beg, oh. I beg. That's so
But it's
true.
cold.
Lady just shows female sports journalists
I'm
don't earn
telling
enough in
you, don't
Africa.
earn enough in Africa. And they'll use me
As
as
the foster child. Oh my goodness, that's some crazy
So when we come
stuff.
back, we'll just quickly take the Arsenal story before we start
Okay,
taking
all right.
the
Arteta. All
messages.
right. I'll be a superstar. You're inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1 Tega and Zibby here. Don't forget we're streaming live on YouTube, so you can let us know what your thoughts are and catch the live stream as well. Just search on YouTube Smooth 981 or send your messages via WhatsApp 0809 4440981.
All right, so let's take the Ateta story very quickly.
All right, Arsenal's attacking players picked apart Fulham's lackluster defense with ease in Sunday's 3-0 win. It was their defensive performance, however, that earned praise from Mikel Arteta, the manager.
So he was talking about how he's made sure that 11 players fall back and defend. That's why Mesut Ozil is not playing for you. Fall back and defend for what? What are the defenders doing? If I'm defending, what are they doing? But yeah, that's what it is. Everybody falls back when Arsenal is without the ball. Everybody takes up a defensive position. Either you're picking up a man or you're pulling down spaces. Just make it a little more interesting. Now, Arsenal had what you could arguably say was a comfortable first half, because once the first goal went in, the second goal was always looming, and then it came, and then there was a third goal. But they scored 3 goals in the first half.
Wow.
And no goals in the second half, and teams have been known to come back in the second half, so it was a tougher second half, a little bit. They didn't dominate as much as they could. Fulham had a lot more touches inside Arsenal's half, and inside their 18-yard box. So it was a tricky second half. So I understand why he's praising them defensively, because at the end of the day, there will be games that you may not be able to score a lot of goals, and if you can defend the few that you have, brilliant. So Arsenal picked up the gauntlet that was dropped by Manchester City. Manchester City had played earlier on. Erling Haaland had scored a goal and cut the point down to 2. Then Arsenal played later in a London derby, if I may add that, and then were able to still extend their gap back to 5. So brilliant one for Arsenal. Still looking good at the top of the tree. We can't say the same thing for Liverpool. The last weekend scored 7. This weekend they cannot score 1. If they should have, you know what? If they would have scored only 4 last weekend, they would still have won the match. That's what's paining me. If they scored 4 last weekend, it would still be 3 points they would have taken. And then they will score the remaining 3 this weekend and taking another 3 points. And even if you score 10-0 in a match, the best you will get is banter. At the end of the day, it's still 3 points. So really, really tricky day. But let's take some messages first before we go. Or should we go into the next story first?
All right.
Okay, let's take some messages, then we'll go into the next story. So let's start with MC.
All right. MC says, Tega Wekobiro.
Okay, Wekobiro.
Oh, okay. This is Shay. Yes, we Chelsea fans are fighting to take you out and have approved your breakfast and lunch for 2 months at a stretch. On you, of course. Yes, Chelsea is back, but Arsenal, watch your back. Man City isn't sleeping at all. Tega, your hair is fantastic. You look like falconets.
Yes.
Congrats to Niger under 20.
Thank you. I should go and play for the Falconets. Yeah, my hair.
Falconets, isn't that the youngest?
That's not the issue. The issue is that I look like them. Read the message. Your work is you read the message. Did you like
yes,
banter?
Zibi is back. Yes, thank you, Cruz. Glad to be back. We missed you. Oh, I missed you too. Tega with descriptions. Try small is different from short.
Yes, people don't understand. Small is different from short.
Oh wow, that
All
is
right.
funny.
Let's take from Nero Chelly.
Nero says Liverpool scored all their goals against United. Casemiro has been escaping red for a long time. Arsenal, they give me joy. Trossard is the best January signing. Arsenal finally replaced Cazorla.
I don't think that they replaced Santi Catola, but they try. This is from Tayo. He says Barcelona's middle name should be called Problem Club. So with Messi, they were looking like they couldn't win titles. Well, there's nothing an economic lever won't do. Emeka Onelun says
Easter came early for we Arsenal fans as Gabriel Jesus has risen.
Nice one.
Now add that to the sleek Leandro Trossard. Arsenal is looking unstoppable. As regards Casemiro, he's now becoming the new Granit Xhaka of Manchester United. He's collecting suspensions and red cards like it's running out of style. Now referees will be keeping an eye on him.
All right, so let me take this message and we'll go to that story. I love Tega's analysis. This is from Ibuku. Oh, thank you. Thanks.
I Tega a new jacket. If you weren't watching the live stream, you wouldn't know.
Ibuku, I said thank you before I've taken it back. Your Bible is too much. How can you say that about me? You me. Let's read the next story while I fume about this thing he just said.
All right, so Manchester United endured a frustrating afternoon in the Premier League on Sunday with a nil draw against bottom place Southampton, marked by the expulsion of midfielder Casemiro. An irritated Ten Hag criticised inconsistency in refereeing and defended the former Real Madrid stalwart's integrity. We are Premier League, you want intensity. Casemiro is a really fair player, tough but fair, it shows. Over 500 games in big European leagues before, never sent off.
Yeah, never sent off with a straight red. And yes, never. And then he comes to the Premier League and they're like, that's not how we play football here. Take. They're handing him red cards like candy. Now, here's what I would say about Casemiro, because yesterday I really felt for him. Because when they showed him the red card, the tears dropped. I was
What?
like, grown man Casemiro? Do you know who Casemiro is? They use palm tree to flog him. He doesn't cry. And you now made him cry because of red card. But I understand what it is. So there are some positions that get away with some tackles. And I will say it. I started watching football from the 90s. So maybe I'm used to a little bit of
Aggression?
physicality.
Okay.
But I understand that modern football has changed. I don't want to say it has become a little softer. I want to say it has become a little more careful. So let me not use
You're
the
so
word.
politically correct,
I have
Zeba.
to be. So let me not use the word soft. And so they're trying to prevent all these injuries, leg breaking, and all of that. Now Casemiro went for the ball, and he gets the ball, but he gets the ball on top of the ball. So his follow through now slides into the guy's ankle. If you're following the law to the letter, it's a red card. I completely agree with the referee. It's a red card. But I have seen several times players get away with this kind of tackles because referees sometimes will consider the situation and the position that the person is playing with. So there's several games in Real Madrid that I thought, that's a red card, referee. Referee just be like, it's Casemiro, no red card for him. Even Fabinho does get away with it sometimes in the Premier League. So you see some players playing certain kind of position get away with some of these things. But Casemiro, for some reason, I think it's a new league, and he's not yet used to it, or they are not yet used to him. So he's going to be in the eye of the referee. And truth be told, like this person said,
Mm,
referees will now be looking out for those Casemiro tackles. Like, this guy has dangerous tackles, and it may make life tougher for him. But I think he needs to adjust a little bit. Maybe pull out of the tackles just a little, and don't slide into a tackle. With your studs showing, especially in the Premier League, because they can be tricky. On a good day, they will leave it. On a bad day, they will give it to you. So it was a red card by the letter of the law. For a player like Casemiro that's gotten away with it, may seem strange, but yeah, red
mm.
card. That's one of
Wow.
the struggles he has to face.
All right. 10 men Rome's chances of qualifying for next week's Champions League took a hit. They suffered a 4-3 Serie A defeat in a goal fest at home to Sassuolo on Sunday.
Yes, really ridiculous one for Roma. And Roma's problem actually started when they lost to Cremonese. Cremonese is the one that took Roma's joy. And yes, I know that they defeated Juventus last weekend, but they've struggled. And even when the matchup came up, Roma against Sassuolo, I kind of figured out that they were going to struggle against Sassuolo, and they did. And it didn't make it any easier that they got a red card. So they were always behind, either in number of players on the pitch or by the goals they conceded. They were
Mm,
3-1 down at some point. Dybala made the game 3-2, and just when they were looking for the equalizer with one man down, they conceded again to make it 4-2, and then they scored again to make it 4-3. But there was just not enough time to make it 4-4. So it was they're always behind. At some If they won that game, they would have gone up to third. Now they're sitting in fifth
mm.
behind an AC Milan with a game in hand, because AC Milan is playing Salernitana today. So not really looking good for Jose Mourinho's side. At some point, they look like they're comfortably in the Champions League zone. Now they're looking like they can't even.
Wow.
They're outside looking in through the window, safe, not even through the door. So really tough task for Roma. Juventus has closed the gap. They're now in seventh place despite the point deduction. So I will say, the Italian Serie A is tough, apart from the fact that Napoli seems to be running away with the league.
Mm.
Sorry, they don't seem to.
They have.
Napoli are running away with the league, but everybody else has made it a competition.
All right. As Erling Haaland was mobbed by his Manchester City teammates, the Norwegian's broad grin gave Pep Guardiola renewed belief that his coveted striker is still very happy at the club. This is coming ahead of Tuesday's decisive Champions League clash with RB Leipzig.
Okay, so basically, Pep Guardiola was saying that once Haaland doesn't score, everybody starts analyzing how he's bad or how he doesn't fit in and how Manchester City shouldn't have bought him. And I wanted to give my two piece on whether he's bad or he's good, but I'm going to leave it to you people. So tell me, if you were marking Erling Haaland's results so far, he scored 28 goals this season. But there are still complaints that he could have done more. If you're marking Erling Haaland's results papers, exam papers this season, would you say Erling Haaland is doing well? Was he a good buy for Manchester City, or would you say, you know what, he's not doing well? The numbers to call are
0144899981.
so the simple question is, what is your assessment of Erling Haaland going to Manchester City? We take our very first phone call. Hello, good morning. Good
Morning.
morning. What's your name and your location, please? Ibuku, you will bring my jacket in Jesus' name.
I added the jacket. I agree.
Okay, all right. So go right ahead. What do you think about Erling Haaland?
Erling Haaland, if there's anything after triple A plus plus plus, please give him. As a United fan, I'm jealous. That guy is a goal scoring machine. 28 goals in the league. I mean, even Aguero didn't do those numbers, if I'm correct. And he's idolized at City. No, that guy is a goal scoring machine. Forget about it. All that what they are saying, yes, at times the team doesn't play to his strengths, but he still works and gets those goals. I beg, no side talk. Give it to him.
All right, no side talk. No side talk. Give it to him. Erling Haaland is great by Ibukun standard. So let's hear your own thoughts. What do you think is Erling Haaland? What's your assessment of Erling Haaland? Let me not tell you what to think. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Yeah, what's your name and your location, please? All right, so go ahead. Tell us. What do you think?
Yeah, if there is anything like an AI robot scoring machine, you want Erling Haaland. You don't want to know about people, whether have been the right and the wrong, they will criticize it. So for me, the guy has done very, very well. I mean, we still about 11 matches to win the league, and the guy has scored 28 goals. So what are we talking about? Give it to the guy. The guy is good. So, I think you can apply for the team manager's role for the Super Eagles.
All right. Thank you very much. He says he has done very well. We are still taking your phone calls. Do we have no, we don't have time to take phone calls. Let's just read some of the messages that are coming through. Chukudi says, against Manchester United, Liverpool were like, sorry for the break in transmission. Normal program will continue shortly. Chimwe Nancy says,
a Casemiro that hasn't collected a straight red card all through his stay in Madrid has now collected 2 straight red cards in 3 games. But I felt for him yesterday. He was so emotional and remorseful.
Doesn't change the red card. He's still suspended. This is from Gary Newton, and he says, I still never understand how Manchester United take lose 7 to Liverpool. Liverpool will no fit win against relegated side. Now Nigeria election. I didn't say that.
Gary Newton said it.
Gary Newton said it.
Casemiro was in severe pains. It means Ramos might have been blacklisted a long time ago if he was in the EPL.
Yep.
But they're saying Chelsea is back. I reserve my comments till the end of March. Tega, what punishments are available for Barca's supposed crime? Arsenal fans, we see you. We still don't believe till we see it happen. Go Man City, and that's from Cruz.
All right. Tayo says Haaland is by far good. Who can we compare him with at the moment? If his style of play is bad, please wear jersey and enter the field. Dozie Priya says
Chelsea will win the Champions League and finish top 4 in the Premier League.
I'm marking this tweet, Dozie. I'm marking this tweet down. Ajibade says,
I think the referee yesterday was very biased against Manchester United. There's nothing anybody can say. It's just usually a case of desperation. Southampton were desperate to get at least a draw from that match so you could see it all.
All right. And Big E says, Tega, good morning. What a great week it was. Crazy how the season is going. Just to see Liverpool beat Manchester United by 7 goals to nil, and 7 days later lose to Bournemouth. Truth, the league will humble you. Up Arsenal, and good to see Gabriel Jesus is back. and this elephant is still flying on top of the tree. And we'll take our last message from NFC says,
Casemiro has been served from his reserves.
all right, like karma has caught up with him. And that's all we can take on the show today. Thank you for hanging out with us, and let's see each other again on Wednesday because there'll be banter because of Champions League. All right, Zibi, take over.
Stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.
Thank you, Zibi.
All right, see ya.